Well, welcome back to another episode of Lorcana Chats. I'm your host, Chris, aka Questing for Lore. And in this week's episode, I took some time to sit down with another long-time content creator who's been there since the first chapter days, doing interviews, building decks, and vlogging. Aladdin's Castle. We spent some time chatting about his background, multiple TCGs, his channel, the importance of setting good goals, and some of his own opinions about the Fabled set. Sound interesting? Well, let's get to it. Well, hey, AC, how's it going?
How's it going, Chris? How are you doing?
Doing pretty good, pretty good. It's Thursday when we're recording this, so that it's almost the end of the week. Pretty close.
Right. 1 week closer to Fabled, so super
That
exciting
is
stuff.
true. That is true. I'm really excited about it. I know that there's a lot of people that are just like, "Meh, it's just a bunch of reprints." But you know, it,
I'm hyped.
well, we'll talk a little bit more about that later on. But first off, one of the first things I like to do is
Oh,
to kind of get the origin story of the people that I'm talking to. How did you get into Lorcana? What was your first exposure
yeah,
to it? Have you played any other TCGs before? Fill us in.
right. Okay. Well, first off, I want to thank you for inviting me to your podcast and your conversations. It's an honor for being here. So thank you for that.
Mhm.
And yeah, I've been probably exposed to trading cards since I was little. It really started with the Pokemon TCG.
Okay.
1999. I mean, we were all introduced to Game Boys and just the hype of Pokemon back then kind of led to the card game naturally. We all didn't know how to play, but we at least collected it and we made our own rules, at least for a lot of us. And we thought the cards were really cool. So that kind of jump started like my love for TCGs was the Pokemon, whole hype that was going on back in the day. And then it kind of just built off from there. Like I remember even in school, like it was such a huge popular cultural movement. When you had like Pokemon cards at school, uh, I even traded some of my snacks for Pokemon cards. Like that's how crazy
Nice.
like I was like so into this game because I was like, oh man, I need some more packs. Obviously, we don't have any money, but I found in an early age that I learned how to barter and trade with the snacks that I got from home. So that was pretty cool experience.
Nice.
I can't forget that when yeah, like a girl just always walked up to me and said, "Do you have any goldfish?" For trade, and I was like, poor girl probably doesn't get fed at home enough. I know it sounds bad, but I was like, sure, I'll trade a bag. It was just really cool thing from there. And then I jump started a couple years later after that. I really was kind of not paying too much attention to Pokemon. That kind of was like a phase, kind of grew out of it a little bit.
Hmm.
And then it wasn't until high school where I was introduced to my first card game that I actually played, which was Versus System. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Versus System. It's made by Upper Deck. It was basically a Marvel DC superhero card game,
Yeah.
and it
Okay.
started off yeah, like in I think early 2000s, mid 2000s, and they had like all the really cool like Marvel superheroes like X-Men and Fantastic Four and Batman and all that. So I was a really big superhero fan also when I was growing up. My brother, who's about 10 years older than me, he has all the coolest stuff. So you kind of like look up to your sibling if you do have an older sibling. You know, want all their stuff. So they were really into superheroes. He collected a lot of toys, action figures. So that whole trading card game that's based off of superheroes, something that I've liked since I was little. So I kind of dabbled in that a little bit for a couple of years, and that kind of taught me how to be afraid of a lot of people who are older than me because they're very intimidated in card games. So like, how am I going to ever
Yeah.
beat this 25-year-old, who's experienced Magic and other card games and they've won all these pro circuits and stuff, and I'm just like a freshman in high school or something, just trying to get by. But that was a really cool experience. That was kind of like my stepping stone into like competitive trading card games.
Okay.
And then that I kind of phased out to a couple years after that. And then I started getting really serious in college when the Dragon Ball card game came out and the
Oh
Naruto card
yeah.
game. So I played a lot of Bandai games back in the day. Naruto was one of my favorite ones as well, and that's actually when I first started my content creation as with the Naruto card game. I just wanted to record like deck profiles, box openings, and kind of like vlogs. I'm really big into vlogs and just kind of taking people with me to like locals and traveling and stuff. So I really like to document that stuff, and that kind of jump started my YouTube path was through the Naruto, Dragon Ball kind of the career over there. So I did have some experience with content creation early on, and that was because it was just for a game that I loved, and I just wanted to share like this game with other people all around the U.S. at least to my community. So
Nice.
that was a lot of fun. Very cool game, and then from there, from Dragon Ball, I was kind of waiting for another game to kind of come out. I was kind of phasing out of that too as well. And then all of a sudden, I don't know where I heard it, but I knew there was a Disney card game that was coming out. It was probably through social media, and I was like, oh man, like at that time, me and my wife were going to Disney trips and stuff, and we were getting really into like Disney. We were always big fans too since we were little, but I think at Disney parks, and we're like, oh, there's a card game coming out. We gotta try it out, and we started at Gen Con, like we were there since the very beginning, and I'm sure you heard all the madness from that, and we were
Yes.
lucky enough to experience it, both good and bad. Waiting hours and hours from just the feeling that it made you feel like being able to enjoy a card game with like somebody that you love and like your friends and family.
Hmm.
That kind of switched like a mindset in me, like compared to like other card games that I played in the past. Like in the other card games, I tried teaching other my friends and stuff, and they seemed okay or interested. But there's something about Lorcana that just is different and unique. So it makes you feel a little bit more special and connected with other people.
Nice.
And
Nice.
here we are.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah. I wasn't around for all the Gen Con craziness and that time of the game. I came in a little bit later, but yeah, the horror stories about that first round. I'm actually really impressed. It looks like I was watching a couple of your videos earlier. It looks like you managed to even get product at Gen Con. Is that true?
Yeah, we waited about guaranteed. We were just lining up towards the end because people were waiting since the like late afternoon or even late evening the night before. So
Hmm.
people were already lined up 10 hours before we were
Oh
able to
my
get to.
gosh.
So it was stretched all the way outside or all the way around the corner, and sometimes the staff would come up and ask us how we're doing. They would pass out pins and stuff. That was pretty cool.
Oh, nice.
But I was just so hyped, like it didn't feel like we were waiting for 4 or 5 hours. I mean, it felt like a Disneyland like waiting period, just like you're waiting for the 3 hour line or whatever.
Yep. Yep.
I
They
think that the deal could be worth.
yeah, they should have maybe they should have had lightning lanes too. That would have been nice.
Yes, right, yeah. Little lightning lanes, a little pre-sale, and then
There you
that probably
go.
would have went hectic too. But yeah, we were
Yeah.
fortunate enough to get. I think we each got a box because I think they were eliminating or limiting product for people. They sold out a lot of their accessories in the beginning, which I really wanted to have, like their play mats. Like I'm really big into accessories. I like to accessorize a lot.
Hmm.
So I was hoping for play mats and deck boxes, but those sold out quick or they had limited supply. But luckily, we were able to get a booster box, so that was really really cool.
That's a pretty good consolation. I mean, in
Yeah,
all
right,
honesty.
right. Considering yeah the prices at the time post Gen
Oh
Con,
my
yeah,
gosh. Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Even now, I mean,
300 four
even
hundred
trying to
dollars.
find a first chapter box these days is still ridiculously expensive.
Right. Yeah.
But
So it's we're lucky enough to at least see that, and I was happy that I was able to document that too. So just opening it at Gen Con was a lot of fun. We had no idea what was going on, and they never even, I don't know if you know, but they didn't even announce the enchanted rarity until the day of. So
oh,
everybody thought it
I
was
never knew
just
that.
commons, uncommons, rares, super rares, legendaries, but
Hmm.
they never surprised anybody until the day of that there's an enchanted rarity. And then if you pulled an enchanted, you were able to be invited to a tournament where you could play for the playmats and stuff. It's like the first ever
Oh.
Gen Con playmats.
Huh.
So it was really,
Okay.
really crazy. Like, and we pulled an enchanted like later on, but we didn't know that this tournament was going on.
Okay.
So then we found that out like afterwards. We're like, oh man, we could have played, but I barely knew how to play anyway, so I probably wouldn't have done well in the first place. But it was pretty cool that they surprised people with that kind of news.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's awesome. It's really interesting. I talked to a lot of people that have been there, but that's the first time I've ever heard about that. But it makes sense. I mean, you don't want to spoil everything, and honestly, it seems like most of the stuff that was building up to that was
Right.
just kind of the basics of the game anyway. There wasn't a whole lot until like right there at the end,
Hmm.
right before Gen Con. But
Yeah.
well, that's
Right.
cool. Do you
Yeah, and they do
think
like to do
you're?
surprises
Oh,
like that.
go ahead.
Like even oh, sorry. I was just gonna say they like to do surprises like that, like especially in the latest set where they didn't announce Bruno as one of the other cards that's being reprinted.
Yeah.
So they like to like catch us with that stuff, and I think that's a fun part about the game too.
Yep. Yep. Or the Stitch from the set before. Was that last set? No, or set before that. I kind of forget which one he was in, but just
Yes,
spoiling
right.
the
The
numbering. Yeah.
626 part,
Yep.
a couple
Six
sets
two
ago maybe.
six. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's the
Right. Right.
one. So, do you think, given that you've had some history with TCGs before, do you feel like that kind of helped you get into Lorcana a little bit easier, or do you think it was just that the game's easy to pick up and easy to start playing?
Yeah. I mean, in terms of like content creation, it really helped me just to get used to being behind the camera. It's not
Hmm.
easy. I don't think anybody's that naturally behind the camera. It takes a lot of practice and comfort, and being able to trust yourself to be putting yourself out there. So I think being able to start early on really helped me to be comfortable with jumping into Lorcana. I knew when the game was starting out, I really wanted to start strong with Lorcana and invest everything in it.
Hmm.
I did like playing multiple card games at once, but as soon as I heard Lorcana was going on, I was like, okay, I know it's going to be a big sacrifice, but I'm going to stop all my games. I'm going to go all in with Lorcana. I have a vision that I want to go really big in there. The Disney IP is really strong, and I think it's going to be such a big game in the future. So like my mindset was already there since the beginning, where I really wanted to dive deep in with Lorcana in terms of content creation.
Nice, nice. So you started with a different game beforehand, right? And you started making
Mm-hmm.
content for that. So think back to those early days of when you first started out making that content. What were some of the biggest
Sure.
challenges that you had? Some of the things that you really, it was, I know the usual thing is like everybody's like just do it, just start doing it. It's like okay, but what after that? What happens?
Mm-hmm.
What do I have to worry about? What do I have to think about? So what were some of the things that you kind of went through in those early days?
Yeah, I mean, like I think in the beginning it just started off with just me recording myself and just kind of going with the flow. I
Hmm.
wasn't really thinking too much about it until like maybe I got a little bit older, and I was like, okay, maybe this could be something. Maybe I could grow a channel and grow a following, and maybe speak to the community and talk about the game that I love and stuff. And it just kind of grew into something that I was really thinking about what I really want to do with the channel. I knew I liked doing deck profiles. I enjoyed deck building a lot, so I really liked showcasing my thoughts into like each card and what it does with the meta and how it could counter different cards. So I was
Hmm.
really big into that. I was really big into opening boxes and box openings and products. So that was really fun to do as well. But like there were a lot of challenges. Like I was like really into the whole numbers thing. Like especially being a content creator, it's tough because sometimes you want like the immediate reaction from your community and stuff, and you want to seek like those approvals. And I think when you're a little bit younger, sometimes you're a little bit more impatient, and you're like,
Hmm.
oh, I was hoping my video would do like 100 views or something like that, or 200 views or 500 compared to my other ones. So like it's always like when you're a little bit less experienced, I think you have a little bit less patience just because you're very ambitious in the beginning. Like you really see yourself as very successful. Like you want to reach the 1,000 subs, 5,000 subs, but when you're younger, you just don't have the patience at the moment, and you really have to discipline yourself when you're younger and think that okay, well, I shouldn't really react so or I shouldn't be so harsh on myself. I should really just focus on like the now and everything instead of like just thinking you can have a big goal and everything, but you also got to be reasonable and realistic with yourself.
Yep.
So I think
Yep.
a lot of times there are times where I'm like, man, I'm kicking myself because I'm like, oh, I really felt like this video would have done well, or that video would have done well. So I think over time I just kind of matured out of that
Hmm.
thought, and going into Lorcana, like I think a lot of my maturity happened within the game itself. Like I think because the target audience also changes as well. Like when I was
Hmm.
doing Bandai games, no offense, Bandai has some toxic like games and stuff, and a little bit
Yeah.
of toxic community, and some of the at least the guys that are used to the Call of Duty lifestyle. So I was one of them. So
Hmm.
a lot of the swear words happen in my other in my other accounts, and I kind of had to chill and kind of calm down from that too. And be like, okay, well, I'm growing up now. I'm kind of over that phase. Some people they don't care about it. That's okay. That's them.
Yeah.
But I was maturing over that. Like my whole mindset changed, especially going to Lorcana. Like okay, like take your time. You don't want to compare yourself to everybody else. There's obviously larger channels out there, but do what you got
Hmm.
to do, and not rush, because that's one of the biggest things is losing the patience and rushing into things. You're just gonna make more mistakes and everything. So I think the most important part, at least for me back in the day, was realizing to just slow down, be patient, still set your goals, and let them be realistic, but know that you're gonna reach there one day.
Nice. Nice.
That was a lot, right? That was a lot.
Yeah, yeah, no, no, that's great. That's perfect. I love hearing this stuff, and and I love being able to share this stuff too, because, I mean, I know Lorcana is still, it's 2 years old ish now, but it's still a
Mm,
relatively young game, and honestly, I mean, when you start
yes.
looking at, the bigger games that are out there, they've been there, I mean, you got the biggest one, Magic, that's been there
Yeah.
for 30 years or something.
Right. Right.
Lorcana will get there someday. It will.
Oh,
But
100%. Yep.
and it's interesting to see how many new creators there are all the time.
Yes. Yes.
Because of the focus of this show, I'm like constantly looking to see who the up and coming creators are, and what they're talking about,
Mm-hmm.
and if there's anything that they're doing that's different, that's interesting, to highlight that kind of stuff. And I appreciate you for your content, because there's a lot of people that do this kind of thing where it's sit down and talk to people, or sit
Yeah.
down and do deck reviews, and and then that's basically their thing. That's all they do. But you're one of the few that I've seen that more consistently does like the vlog style, where you're out talking to people, you're at events, you're
Mm-hmm.
interviewing people, you're going to locals, and filming games there, and it's a really cool kind of different
Yeah.
perspective on things. It's a little more chaotic, but that's okay. We need all
Right.
sorts of different kinds of content,
Yeah.
but yeah, I appreciate it, and I'm curious when you're thinking about what you're creating, and kind of what's next. What's your process for that kind of thing?
Yeah, so I like to be organized, but I'm also like chaotic organized. I'm the guy with the meme where there's a bunch of like papers behind, and I'm like trying to connect all these things. I was like, okay, if I try this, maybe it'll turn into that, or if I try that,
Yep.
I'll turn into this. But like at the end of the day, like I think of so many ideas, and sometimes I just don't implement because either I'm nervous about it, or I'm not sure if like the audience will be there at the moment. But I like to really think about stuff that's kind of outside the box, or things that people aren't really trying. Like blogging is one that I've been doing ever since I was in the Bandai games, and I just really enjoyed bringing people with me. And I noticed that there weren't really a lot of vloggers out there. I know like Katie's done
Hmm.
a little bit of it, Work Papers In, and
Yep.
some people here or there. Liam started to do some vlogs too. So I felt like that was like a little area that I felt would be important, because I do watch a lot of like Disney YouTubers, like Disneyland, Disney Parks YouTubers and stuff,
Okay.
and I really enjoyed watching them. Gave me a lot of like ideas to like what to eat, where to go, how to all these tips to attend all the parks and what to do and stuff. And I felt like that would have been really cool to do with the trading card game. Bring people along, see how the events are run, talk to people, meet the community, ask what people are playing. So I felt like that was a really cool experience, at least on my part, that I wanted to bring to others. So vlogging and all that interview stuff is also something that I really enjoy, and like you, like getting to meet people of the community, and seeing what drives them and why they love the game so much. So that really drives me. But a lot of the stuff I get inspirations from all over. Like even on Instagram, like this is something new. Like I'm not too savvy on Instagram, but I kind of force
Hmm.
myself to learn it and try to learn from other people, and I try to get ideas from them, and see their videos. So I'm trying to start like different series on like videos. Like I'm really big into fashion. I really like Lore Whisperer and her like Jay's fashion like stuff that she puts out. Like she's really
Mm-hmm.
big into like her outfits. Same thing with Enchanted Kim. Like I want to do that too for my channel. So like there's like things that I get inspired from other people that I'm like, okay, well maybe it's not bad if I try to I like my hobbies and all that and try to push forward with the content and try to still relate it to Lorcana. But most of the stuff that
Nice.
I like really comes from blogs and deck profiles and just meeting people in the community.
That's awesome. And it seems like you kind of make it to a lot of events. I mean, maybe that's just from looking at the videos and everything. But do you like travel around to events a lot, or is it like a lot of local stuff?
I try to, but lately I've been going to a lot of events, but I haven't been able to do a lot of DLCs in the first season. I think I was only able to do Chicago. I work retail, so a lot of that
Mm-hmm.
the weekends are required, so it's tough for me to get those off. So a lot of the events that I do go to will be locals. I try to do like two locals a week, sometimes even three, depending,
Oh
just
wow.
to make up
Okay.
for the Lorcana that I'm missing over the weekend. Because I really want to go to like the big events and like see people in those Saturdays off. So I put a lot of attention towards the local area. So I'm really big into like the Chicagoland community and trying to meet them. I get a lot of people on for deck profiles. I get a lot of people on just to meet and talk to them about like the meta and their thoughts on like rotation and stuff. So that's kind of like my form of like mini DLCs where I'm able to at least travel to our locals and get a good amount of the smaller community, at least in the Midwest area, and experience that in terms of like traveling to events. But I try to make it to the large events. Continentals, I was there too as well, and then I dropped into the Worlds area recently too as well, just to see what was going on. But I tried to make it to events like Gen Con and stuff whenever I can.
Nice. Nice. So you're happy about the location of the DLCs for this upcoming season?
So I know I'm a little biased because it is all in the Midwest,
Yep.
which I definitely feel like I know I did a video on like on like our area's opinions on it, and like half of them are like, of course, like it's only an hour or 2 hour drive. But I definitely feel for a lot of people. Like I wanted more DLCs. I wanted what everybody else did, more spread out
Yeah.
regions and stuff. And you would just thought like because the game is growing, you would have thought there'd be more at least the same amount of DLCs as last season. So I mean, I'm just lucky and fortunate it is there, it is close, but also um, I was hoping they would expand it too. So like hopefully they'll add more tickets down the line, more attendee tickets, more competitor tickets. But yeah, I did wish that it was kind of spread out more because I would travel for more if I could. Like I would love to go California, Texas,
Mm-hmm.
more Florida or East Coast, New York, anywhere else. Like I'd like to travel for, but I'm just lucky that there's one that's close to our area.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, I know that feeling is shared by a lot of people. It's like
Yeah,
it's great that it's it's close by, but
right.
then you
Yeah,
have the rest of the U.S. That's like,
I know. Right, that's
but
missing, and yeah.
yeah, I'm curious about your opinions. Kind of talking about just having three DLCs. I'm curious about your opinions on them trying out the CCQ approach. With those qualifier events. Do you have
Yeah,
any thoughts on
I
that?
think it's really good on their part to kind of listen to feedback because they jumped really close and it was something that they weren't planning, right? Like they were not planning this to have like these kind of CCQ or third party events for invitations until like maybe the next season after that or the following season. So they really listened to the feedback, which I think they're really good at. It may not seem like it at first because there's a lot of things going on in the background that we just don't understand on a business standpoint and everything. But I think they really are trying their hardest to kind of make a system that works for everybody. And sometimes it may not feel like that. Like I know there's a lot of feedback from everything going on since Continentals, but I really think that they're still trying really hard with everybody that they got on recently on staff, trying to catch everybody up and still try to figure out a system where it works for everybody. Because right now, they're trying to catch everybody up from the whole globe. Like it's a worldwide thing,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
sometimes some sacrifices have to be made to kind of catch everybody up. And that may not be easy, or it's a tough pill to swallow, but I think it's in good intention that they're trying to at least communicate and catch people up with everything to make a good experience overall for everybody.
Yep. Yep. Totally agree. And in my perspective, we got a little spoiled, right? We were the target, or,
Yes.
us and Europe were basically the two markets. And so they got to really focus
Hmm.
things. And honestly, when they put out the first DLC, because I ended up going to it in Atlanta, um, it was a little rough. It was a little rough around the
Hmm.
edges. I'd never been to a big
Yeah.
event like that, but even me, I was like, okay, we're basically in a big concrete room. There's like three vendors. So, but it was really cool to see how over time
Right. Right.
they evolved it so
Yeah.
that, whenever it comes to this next season of the DLCs, that's the starting spot. They're not
Sure.
having to start all over again and say, okay, now we're going to redo all this stuff. I know it's a different company that's handling it, but at
Hmm.
least the Ravensburger folks have a starting place in mind. They can say, okay, the
Yes.
community loved this. They wanted us
Right.
to do this again. And so they make sure that those are there. And then like you're saying, they kind of get to a certain point where everybody's caught up to the same place all across,
Hmm.
the different places all around the world. And then they can officially start in with, hopefully more events. We'll see. I don't know. I don't know if we'll
Right.
get more,
Right.
but maybe they'll at least
Right.
be a little more spread out next time. But who
Yeah.
knows? So,
Exactly. Which is why, yeah, I do like that they're doing, like to your point earlier, the third party stuff, the CCS. I think that's really cool on them to kind
mhm.
of switch up their plan and kind of be able to maneuver it based on public feedback. So I think that's why I think I have a lot of strong opinions that they're looking out for the betterment of the community.
Yep. Yep, definitely. Yeah, it's been great to see them listening and making modifications along the way. You hope that as the game grows and as Ravensburger
Mm-hmm.
itself grows, they're because this is their first TCG too. I think, as far as I know. Um,
Yeah,
but
they've been doing puzzles for like 20 years or something like that, or
oh,
20, 30
longer
years.
longer than that. I mean, Ravensburger itself has been around for forever, like 50 years or something. It's ridiculous.
Crazy.
But yeah, it's like I said, it's kind of a new market for
I know
them a
we don't
little
like
bit.
making an excuse, but yeah, 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 they're doing great so far overall. Overall.
Overall, yes, that's the key, right? And you have to give them credit, but that doesn't mean that we can't be, can't have some
Right.
criticism about this stuff. It's
Yeah.
okay. It's good to be, critical about some things. Otherwise, how are they going to know what to improve, where to improve it, what the community is
Right.
looking for if we don't give them that feedback? So,
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so actually, before we leave the topic of content creation, I do have a few more things that I'd like to ask.
Yeah. Sure.
Um, so you mentioned, you go through and you kind of think about these things, about the different kinds of videos that you're going to make, the different content you want to produce, and everything. So has there been a time in the past where you just kind of got to a certain point and were like, I just don't know what's next. I don't know what to do next. You kind of had that block in the way.
Yeah. Several times actually. Like I think that just comes with that comes naturally because you're pumping out content and then you're in a writer creative block. And I think that's totally natural and it happens to I think everybody.
Hmm.
And that's like a number of factors. Like that could just be putting out the same type of content over and over again. Sometimes you'll get a little bored of it. You want to spice it up, so then you'll think of something different, which is kind of what I've done over the past. Where it's like, oh man, it's cool doing deck profiles and stuff, but maybe I'll ask different questions this time, or maybe I'll pick like a certain theme and talk about it and kind of switch it up a little bit. So that's kind of my way to getting around certain things. Is like if something's maybe not working as much as I thought it would, I would try to at least modify it a little bit, or kind of sprinkle some spice into it. So it's not just the same cookie cutter content that I'm always putting out. Because I'm always putting out like first place deck profiles from like locals or box openings, but then there are other things that like I try to think about. That's that I try to be different about so that I'm not so burned out all the time. And
Yeah.
then also like uh, there are times when like if you do hit like a block, I kind of just step away for a little bit, maybe like 5 days or a week, sometimes I had like a 2 to 3 week hiatus and I didn't even say anything. Like I was just like, okay, I'm back, whatever. But
Yeah.
I think people need that, especially just for like mental health reasons or just to even like recover from just the stress of content creation. It's definitely not easy. Like what everybody's doing here, what you're doing, what I'm doing, even the larger channels, even the smaller channels, like it's a stressful thing to do. And
Hmm.
sometimes you just need that time off to kind of recover. So to just focus on like yourself or for work or your family, to just kind of hang out a little bit and kind of take your eyes off the screen. But a lot of that stuff like is going to happen naturally, and just know that it will come, and you just got to be patient about it and kind of just phase it out, because in the long haul, you know what your goal is, and you know you'll get there. But just know that it's perfectly normal to like hit these kind of blocks. And best thing to do is like maybe just take some time off or analyze what you're doing and try to approach it differently. Like if
Hmm.
your videos aren't working as much as you'd like or aren't performing, just try to take a different approach, or ask other people around. The community is really helpful. Content creator community is huge here, so I mean we're all very helpful for like with each other. There's so many people that we know and we don't know, but we're all willing to help each other. So that's another thing too, is that to know like you're not alone on this journey. We're all going through this together, and we really want everybody to succeed. So just kind of take some time off, ask for advice, and just kind of know that it'll get better.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I appreciate you saying that. I know that there's a lot of content creators. We've had some of the earliest ones. We had the Live
Yeah,
Laugh Lorcana ladies. The Citizens of Lorcana podcast. A lot of them. They just kind of hit that certain point of burnout, um, and it's hard to get past that at some points. No, I just, I like I said, I appreciate you saying, it's okay to take that step back sometimes.
hmm
You see all these major channels, and not even Lorcana stuff. Like outside of that, there's just so much on YouTube, and
sure.
people are, super consistent. They're out there, once a week, multiple times a week, every single day, and it's hard as a creator to look at that stuff and say, why can't I do that? Why can't I
Yeah,
measure up to that? And I think it results in a lot of people burning out really quickly.
yeah. It's
Um,
intimidating because you look up. Exactly, yeah. Like the obvious thing, but we all do it. We all want to be like all the people that we inspire to be. But you kind of get lost sometimes, and that could kind of also demotivate you from kind of pushing through. But a lot of the things you just gotta realize to just do it at your own pace, and
mhm.
you are at you're the person who's controlling your own destiny, right? Like so you should at least know how you are, know how your health is. Go at your own pace and be patient, and don't try to compare yourself to everybody else, because that's just gonna put you down even further.
I appreciate that. It's always good to hear, the same kind of stuff. It's talking to other content creators. There's so many times that people feel that pressure, especially newer ones. Now
Yeah.
you've got a little bit of context having done some of this before, but the people that this is their first time, it's like, you get that feeling that if you're not go, 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 that you're not good enough. And then your numbers are not where they're supposed to be. And then, it's like this feedback cycle that can be really tough to get
Right.
out of.
Yeah, I was just saying like, yeah, it's definitely not easy as new creators, because you're not used to like the exposure, and sometimes you're just nervous about what people will think. And I think that's one of the biggest hurdles, is trying to get over what people think, which
Yep.
you shouldn't. You should just kind of focus on what you're doing, and as long as you love what you're doing, people will see that, and I think they'll naturally catch on to what you like. Like everybody's content doesn't have to be for everybody, but if you enjoy it yourself, you'll find like-minded people who are the same, and then you could kind of just connect with them and kind of build off from there. So
Yep.
um, yeah.
Nice. Nice. So, if there was one piece of advice that you could give somebody, either a new content creator or somebody that's trying to kind of level up their game a little bit, what would that one piece of advice be?
Or even if you're a player, it's not a sprint, it's not a race. You're just trying to get there when you can. Like everybody's supposed to arrive at their journey at their own time and when they're ready. Some people arrive it faster, some people arrive it slower. It doesn't matter, as long as you're enjoying the process, you're enjoying the journey, you love what you're doing. Just be patient and hang in there, and then good things will come. So I'm really big into that kind of philosophy, where if you're patient enough and you're putting in the work, you're trying really hard, it'll eventually come your way. So if you're a small creator, just keep putting out everything you're doing, sharing everything, liking people's posts, talking to the community. Eventually people will catch on to that and you'll just start growing. And even for bigger creators too, like, just be patient. You have large goals, you'll eventually meet it. But don't compare yourself to everybody else just because they're not you and you're not them, and that's okay. You're your own person, so just kind of go at your own pace, be patient, and you'll see the results.
Nice. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so speaking of kind of the future of things, that was a really bad transition, but
That's
I
okay.
was trying to get there with
Future
it.
self.
Yeah, future stuff. So we are about a week away from Fabled right now.
Yes.
So, and we kind of talked about this a little bit before we started recording, but I know there's a lot of people that are just like, meh, it's just a bunch of reprints,
Right.
who's really that interested. I'm not going to order as much. I'm not going to get as much product in the long run, just singles.
Hmm.
So what are your thoughts about it? What do you think about the set?
Yeah, I think this set hits different people differently. Like obviously, it's something that people aren't used to, especially if you're new to the card games. You might be new to rotation. I think Dragon Ball had a little bit of rotation, maybe Naruto also. So I came from a game background where I was used to having some of my favorite cards be cycled out, not being able to use them anymore, and some of the value of them going down. So I totally understand, the competitive side of it, where some people they just don't want to lose their favorite cards or their favorite valued cards, so that they know like, oh, my deck is $1,000 or whatever. I worked really hard to build this, and now it's over. But I also understand the whole point of trying to get newer players into the game, which I think is the more
Mm-hmm.
important part in the long haul. And I think it's not a lot of the short term stuff. It's like the broad vision of the long haul. But yeah, like I think they need a reprint set just to bring everything back together, to make everything fresh. At first, I was not too big into rotation because I like my favorite cards, but then I thought
Yeah.
about it and I was like, okay, if we're gonna be playing the same type of deck over and over again, like it kind of gets stale. Like the meta gets stale. You kind of already learned what Ruby Amethyst does. You already know what Steel Song does. So it kind of gets like old and played out. So you kind of want to freshen up the meta a little bit, which I think this rotation is going to be like the old Ruby Amethyst of the past is not going to play like how it used to be.
Yeah.
Same thing with songs, like we're losing a lot of songs. So I mean, it's just going to freshen up the meta, which I think is really important in this game where we're so used to uh, going across somebody and be like, oh, you're playing this deck or that deck. I know what to do. So, um, I'm really for rotation, and I really support what they're doing with it and their vision of it, just to kind of bring this meta fresh and to bring in new players to the game.
Yep. Yep, definitely. Yeah, and I mean, based on the decks that I've been seeing online, I mean, there's lots of people that are really having fun. Like they're not just like
Yeah,
trying to retrofit decks that I mean, I've seen that too, but retrofit those
right.
decks that they really enjoy. They're actually like
Mm-hmm.
branching out and really trying new things. People that are known for playing certain colors are, they're
Yes.
like, well, maybe I'll give this a shot since,
Yeah.
and see how
Right.
it
Right.
goes. So,
Yeah, that's my favorite part. Probably is the deck building aspect in any card game. I'm a much better deck builder than player. Like I like to put that out there. I like to theory craft. I like to think about cards that kind of counter certain decks. But I'm not necessarily the best player or a good player. So like I'm like, oh cool, I could cook up a deck, but can I play it? Probably not. But a lot of the ideas in there are shared with like a lot of other good players. So at least I'm going somewhere. But I do enjoy like deck building. That's my favorite thing to do is to kind of find cards that people would never think about or try to come up with like crazy combos. So that's what my favorite part about it is kind of like creating the decks and going through this process of finding out what works and doesn't work and what cards could counter this card and not. So very very exciting times for this rotation.
nice, nice. Do you have any particular decks that you're really excited about so far?
So the first deck that I printed off, I proxied off my work emails and stuff. So don't tell my job. Use their ink.
Your secret's
But
safe with me.
I right, I've been doing that for even since Naruto, just printing off proxies, just because I get excited about deck building. It was the Ruby Emerald Christmas deck with the Goofy movie.
Oh,
That I've been
nice.
very
Yeah.
high on. I don't think it's going to be good in the start because there's so much aggro in the beginning. But I
Yeah.
really like the ability to sing with Powerline and being able to sing multiple songs a turn. And the play style of it is really different. It's not necessarily something that I was used to. That kind of bounce things back to your opponent's hand and then maybe draw off Clarabelle and stuff like on package, the shift lines of the Goofy movie cards. And I'm really enjoying that at the moment.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting world without all the bounce package that we know and love. So
Mm-hmm.
I know we got a couple of extra things that let you do that kind of stuff, but and we
Right.
we got a couple of reprints too, but not nearly as much as before. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be cool to figure it out. Like, the different shells of the decks aren't going to be the same anymore. Like I mentioned, Ruby.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's really interesting to see some of the new approaches that people are taking to the same kinds of things. The inks still have their same kind of identity, but there's also some
Mm,
interesting blending that's kind of going on. You have singers in other colors that you didn't usually before, and so now it's
right,
like,
right.
oh, well, maybe I can play some of these songs that everybody else has been playing.
Yeah, you can play Ruby Amber now, and that's something that's been creeping up lately. And then, in the triple deck format, that was really good because you could just ban steel, so your other like lower cost guys could survive. And then now Ruby Amber songs could be a thing with Powerline. So there's a lot of new
It's true.
possibilities that are opening because of these different identities that some colors are kind of establishing.
Yep. Yeah, I know there's some people that have kind of grumbled a little bit about it. They're like, they're trying to like, kind of blur it so that things are
Mm-hmm.
not, they don't have that same focus. But I don't think they're going to get that far. It's not going to be
Right.
like, well, Steel and Ruby are basically the same ink. We've got a
Mm-hmm.
couple of
Yeah.
cards that are like that, but they're usually like vanillas or
Sure.
things that are like support. Of course, you're going to have those across all the colors, but
Yeah.
um,
Right.
but yeah, there's definitely some really interesting things coming in the 33 new cards that we got. It was a lot to keep up with during
Yes.
reveal season, so I'm gonna have to go back personally, go
Mm-hmm.
through all the new ones. But so
Yeah, there's
outside
definitely
of
some
the
spicy
oh, go ahead.
cards. Yeah, no, I was just saying there's a lot of exciting and spicy cards, even though it's only 33 cards.
Hmm.
With the new rotation, just feels like a whole new game.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So besides the goofy cards, is there anything else you're looking into trying out, trying to build a deck around, or just excited in general about?
Yeah, I'm excited for people to figure out the princess decks because that's been a long time
Hmm.
theme that hasn't been supported since set one, set two. And with the addition with the new Aurora, I think she's just going to bring a lot more
Yeah.
creativity and kind of fear for like the new Aurora with Ward and Tiana and all that hype's going on. And I
Hmm.
hope it gets really popular because then I could finally use the card that I revealed from Ravensburger, which is Prince Ahmed. And I've been saying,
Oh, you revealed that card.
well, the cards are going to hit rotation. So Cinderella turn one was like a big
Mm-hmm.
hit. But now
Mm-hmm.
you could hit Aurora turn one if you're on the play, and maybe that might be a good thing. But yeah, I'm waiting for his reign, but I'm also for princess decks.
Yeah, I've actually been working on one of those myself. So with that and the new Mulan and the new Beast
Oh,
that
sure,
just came
the
out. Yeah,
Amber Beast.
yeah, the Amber one. Yeah, I haven't
Okay,
quite figured out
okay.
exactly whether or not I want to keep him. It seems decent, but only been testing for a little bit, so we'll see.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there was
Maybe a couple copies, and yeah.
a lot
And if
of
you pull the enchanted, you have to pay it. You have to pay
I
it.
yeah, I know, right? That would be awesome. It's a beautiful card too. The enchantments in Fabled are amazing this time.
Like all of them, like shout outs to all the artists. Like they definitely hit it out of the park with Fabled enchantments. I want
Hmm.
to make a skit where people were so against rotation in the set, and then all of a sudden they see the enchantments, like, okay, I want to buy a case now. Mostly
Nice,
because
nice.
they just see that the artwork is just so beautiful. This set, props to them.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I like I know the epic cards. They aren't like new art or anything, but still, I'll be
Mm-hmm.
interested to see what they look like
Yeah,
in person. It's kind of hard to get a feel for what the foiling and everything looks like, but But yeah, that's and that's another
Sure.
thing that I'm glad that
Right.
Ravensburger kind of listened to everybody. Now I know that they do these sets way out, so this was something they planned months and months ago to have epics and iconics in there.
Yeah.
But it was interesting to see that they listened and that they anticipated that the community wanted more types of things to open in their
Yeah.
packs, so that it wasn't just the
Right.
foils at the
Right.
back or potentially an enchanted. So
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people in our locals that were like, "Oh, I need something more to chase with because other card games have that really like secret rarity. I know One Piece does that, and other card games. So I'm glad that they added that iconic rarity just for the chase card, something like
yep,
people could be excited to open. And I think it's perfect for this set because it's a bunch of reprints. So at least you'll have a chance of pulling something really really good.
yep. Well, and it's not that much longer until Whispers comes out because it's only like
Yeah,
a
it's
2 month
two
gap
two and
or
a half months,
something.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I don't mind either. Like I know a lot of people are complaining about this set and that they might just stick to singles, which I think is perfectly fine. I
Yeah.
think in other card games that happens like all the time. You're not gonna like the set. You're not gonna like the decks that are being played. Sometimes people take some time off, and that's totally fine. Come back
Mm-hmm.
2 months later and go all in for the next step, or save some money. You're not spending as much money this set
Yeah.
because you're just buying singles. Go to a Disney vacation or something like that. Use that for something else, or treat yourself for a nice dinner, and then come back a couple months later and go full in. But I think it's totally fine to feel like this. You're a competitive player, totally understand. But the next set's coming out right around the corner also, so you'll go right back at it.
Yep. Yep. Well, and they've said that there is a possibility for reprints in the future, but it's not going to be to this extent. That it would be just a handful of
Correct. Yeah.
cards or something. So that'll be good. I
Yeah.
know that was a lot of people's complaint. It was like, well, why would we do a set that's mostly reprints? It's like, well,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Now, in the other games that you've played in the past, did they do something similar to this, or was it just like full steam ahead? It's just new set after new set.
I think they would do like mini sets, like maybe 2 months or so of like some reprints, or they would do it in like a starter deck where they'd have some reprints too as well. Um,
Okay.
but I don't know if Magic did the same thing. I never played Magic, but I never played it where there's like a massive reprint where they had to recollect everybody. But I think with this intention, it was mostly aimed for newer players. So
Yeah.
I never experienced like a big reprint set like this.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting too to see how the ones that got reprints are like what their impact is in future sets too, right? Because they're planning these
Yeah,
all farther
right.
and farther out. It's like, well, maybe there's something coming in Whispers or Winter. Is it Winterfell or Winter Spell? Winterfell, I think. I kind of forget. But but yeah, it'll be interesting to see
Winter
if
Spell.
Winter Spell. Yeah, there we go. To see what comes out in those sets and how the cards that they reprinted might impact those. There might be some synergies that we're just not seeing yet. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, like they brought back the Amber Queen from set one or set two that gives like plus lore to a villain or something like that. So
Hmm.
I feel like maybe the Queen might be a Queen of Hearts might be a villain in the future for one of
Yep.
their big events because they're putting a lot of support behind Queen and Princess synergies.
Hmm.
So it was just a matter of time for that to kind of come up, or King synergies. We haven't seen that too often. So there's a lot of like
Yeah.
little themes that haven't been touched yet, and I think they are setting up for stuff in the future.
Yeah. So speaking in the future, do you have a preference on who the next kind of big bad is?
Whew, man. So
I know
I
we're
think,
still a few sets out, but
yeah, right. I don't know. Let's see. So who are the main ones they had so far? They already had Jafar and Ursula.
Ursula
Was
and
there anybody
Jafar.
before that?
Yeah. Mm-mm. No.
Those are the only two. I would like to see probably Hades next. I think Hades would be a really
Yes.
good villain. Just the whole, yeah, like he's probably one of the more popular villains as well, and he's just so
Mhm.
cool looking. Um, I watched the latest. I think we were at Disney World recently, and they had the villains show that they just put up,
Oh
and like
yeah.
he was such a cool character to see, and just like his visuals, his demeanor, like everything. Like I think he's really cool character to kind of branch out of. So I hope they do some more Hades stuff and Hercules focused cards.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. So Infernal Schemer is a great one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's
Yeah,
that's been a mainstay for forever, and now we got a reprint and an enchanted. Yes. Um, but yeah, it's just
right. Yeah,
been I don't know. Some of the other Hades cards have been good, but a lot of them have not been great. So I would love to see him
right.
get, some kind of big bang, in the game. So yeah, I'm right there with you. I would love to see Hades as the next big bad, but we'll see.
Yeah, maybe they'll make some broken card where when you play Hades, you could play Pain and Panic from your discard pile for free. Who knows?
Yeah,
They could be like
I
one
could see
drops
it.
or something like that. But yeah, something fun.
Or like the eels, with the two
Mm,
eels, you could have
yeah,
Pain and Panic work
right.
together, and yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yep, could be interesting. So.
Sure.
Well, cool. Well, anything else for Fabled? Are you doing it? Are any of your
I'm
LGSs do
excited.
anything or?
Yeah, yeah, we have our pre-release. We do a starter deck plus a pack, so I'm excited for that. Um,
Nice.
I don't know cards, so I might just go for that. But yeah, me and my wife collect cards, so we can't escape buying product every set, even if it is a rotation. So we have to get product, and we try to collect all the enchanteds and everything. That's really tough.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, we're just excited to pull new stuff.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, I'm right there with you with the collecting stuff. A lot of people
Mm-hmm.
are like, "Well, I already have set play sets of these cards that I got reprinted. Why do I need to collect the new ones?" And I'm like, because they have different numbers.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
I can update
like,
the binder.
yeah, exactly. I mean, I have my
Right.
binder already and waiting for Fabled next week.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. We just
you know,
ordered ours, so that's gonna
okay,
be interesting.
nice.
Fill that out. But yeah, I mean,
Yep.
like I think people could also just set all the new cards to new players. Like I think this set gives us an opportunity to also help teach new players in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's something I wish Ravensburger pushed out a little bit more is maybe focus on this set for a lot of the new players on our standpoint, like getting the LGS to help set up like learning plays and everything, or even doing it on your own. Like I think this is going to be an important part for us to bring in new players as well to try to get them started. Just because this is the perfect set to bring them in. Just use all of our reprints, give it all to the new players, give it to like your local library or hospitals or whatever, and teach people about the game. So I think this is a very important part in the transition of the future of the game is bringing in more people, utilizing those reprints. We're not going to use them just hand it off to other people, kids or whatever. Halloween's coming up, put it in their trick or treat bag.
There you go. There you
Some
go.
ideas just try to use it for other reasons other than just complaining about stuff that you already have. Just give it out to other people, and I think that's better than just dooming and glooming.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely. Yep. And as any good collector does, I'm sure lots of people have lots of extras of the the older
Mm-hmm.
copies of some of these because some of them are not, they're like commons and
Yeah,
uncommons, and and it's like, well, I already have 30 of these sitting in my bulk box. What am I going to do with them? That's perfect idea.
right.
I've heard of people that take them to the parks and just hand them out, hand out little packets of them just to kind of get people interested. And
Yeah.
yeah, this is
Mm-hmm.
definitely the perfect set for that. Um,
Yeah, like little gestures like that. I just think it's something the community, at least this community, is so unique. Like we try different things to get people to the game. Other card games, like we had no type of community driven effort like that. We try to get people in the locals, but there's never a time where you would think about bringing cards to like a library and teaching people how to play or a school. Like I think this game has so much reach and so much potential that you could use those cards and resources more than any other card game, and it'll
mhm.
bring better use out of it.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, it's always really cool to see people that are kind of getting outside of the LGS bubble. I know
Mm-hmm.
there's one person, I forget their name offhand, honestly, but I've seen them. They actually run an after school program, and
Okay,
it
I
started
think I've
off
seen
with
that.
just a handful of kids, and they really enjoyed it, and so they told their friends, and so the group started expanding. And now they have coming up. They have like a teacher in service day, where the kids don't have to come. And they're actually teaching other teachers how to play the game
Okay.
so that they can help,
Yeah.
spread it to other
Yeah.
classrooms and potentially other schools. And, I was like, okay, that's really cool to have it,
Yeah.
kind of branch out like that. But
Right. Right. Yeah.
but
I like that. Yeah.
again, that does take, product to be able to do that kind of stuff. And, a grassroots effort like that, they can't afford,
Right.
20 starter decks or something.
Right.
So, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's really cool. So,
Yeah. Exciting.
all right. Well, hey, AC, thank you for sitting down and talking with me, especially on such short notice. I really appreciate it.
Oh no, thanks for being flexible with my schedule too.
Yeah. I'm not very good at planning ahead, so one of these days, right? It's one of those goals that we
We
were
were all
talking
working
about
on it.
earlier, It's like
We're
one
all
of these
not perfect.
days I'll get caught up. But yeah. Anyway, so I like to end with the same. It's 4 questions now. It used to be 3, but I added in one here. But
Okay.
the same questions to everybody because I like to get a little insight into their minds here at the end. But so let me start off with favorite ink and card right now.
Okay. Favorite ink. Ink color would probably be emerald. Not the discard
Okay.
emerald. That's a little toxic for me. But
Yeah.
the fun stuff like Go Tamago is probably one of my favorite cards. Just because she won me so many games that I thought I was gonna lose.
Yeah.
Sometimes people run into a character and like their Tamato is exposed, and you just do a 4 strength attack, and then you go for game. She's probably one of my favorite cards. And also Whole New World. So those are the main two. Whole New World's a favorite. It's a powerful card in itself.
It is very much so. And to be honest, I'm kind of glad to see it go, at least for now.
Yeah,
I
right.
could see it coming back in the future, but yeah, it's yes, it is very powerful. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, cool. Okay, next question. Favorite Disney movie and why?
Gotta say Aladdin.
I'm
That's
shocked.
definitely been an inspiration for my channel, at least. Aladdin has been my favorite movie since I was little. I think it just hits all like facets of the classic Disney film. It has action, it has romance, it has the songs, it has the actors, like the Robin Williams. Like there's so much going on with the film, and it's so much nostalgic. Like they have like even like animals are even like just out there. Yago's like crazy. So like it's just a whole package of Aladdin. Like their story, just the villain. Like Jafar is one of the best villains too as well.
Hmm.
I think it's just a well-rounded Disney film, and I've loved it ever since I was a kid. Whole New World's like my favorite song. I always sing it on karaoke, especially if I don't even know how to sing, but I'll still sing it. But it's a really good movie, and it's one of my favorites since I was a kid. So I can't can't speak highly enough of it.
Nice, nice. And what did you think of the redo with Will Smith and everything?
It was okay. It was okay. I mean, a lot of the remakes of the classic films are kind of tough to swallow.
Yeah.
But I mean, I do appreciate like the new audience that they're trying to go for and everything. But nothing beats the
Yep.
original
Yep. That's fair.
one, basically.
Well, cool. All right. Third question. Give some shout outs to your favorite LGS or LGSs.
Yeah. So there's two that I mostly play at. Main one is Perfect Circle Games out in Niles. They're a really cool shop, small business. But I've known the guy since Dragon Ball, basically. So I've known him for 12, 13 years. And he just really cares about the community. I really support him because of that. He really looks out for everybody, makes sure that they're doing fine. If they need like even like snacks or nourishment or anything like that, and he tries really hard to bring product to the community first. So it really means a lot for somebody to be like that, who's really involved in the game and who believes in the game.
Hmm.
So shout outs to there out in Perfect Circle Games. And then number two is another store out in Zion, Illinois, which is kind of in the border of Wisconsin and Illinois. His name is Bill, and his shop's is Prime Time, and he's another local small business shop. He hasn't changed for 30 years. His like setup looks the same. That's kind of like who he is. He doesn't try to expand. He has one of the biggest like Yu-Gi-Oh communities. Successful Yu-Gi-Oh
Hmm.
players come out from there. But he's just a really cool guy. He's very down to earth. He tells it like it is, and he's really big into his sport player base. But there's honestly a lot of good LGSs around the Chicagoland area. I'm really lucky that there's some type of LGS going on every day that we could travel to. But those are the two main that I really support and I appreciate. Oh, and also shout out to my team, Lords of Lore. I just want to do a quick shout out. They're a team coming out of Chicago, really fun group of people. We just really like to have fun and try to be competitive. And if it weren't for them, I wouldn't be doing a lot of this stuff too. They really support me with what I'm doing, and you really need like that kind of support system in the game, I think, just to kind of motivate you to do things. So shout outs to them as well, who also play at these locals too.
Okay. Nice. Nice. All right. And last question, where can people find you and your content?
They could find me. I'm mostly on YouTube and Instagram at AladdinsCastle23. I try not to do other ones because honestly, YouTube and Instagram is a lot of work, and I don't know how people could do 5 social platforms. Like, I really give credit to them. I tried. I made a X or Twitter like 9 months ago, and it's still there with nothing on it. So don't follow me because I probably won't get to that in another year or so. But yeah, just those 2 platforms is maybe in the future I'll think about expanding. But yeah, it's those 2.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, I'll make sure all this stuff, all the LGS and all your content is linked in the notes for the show. Yeah. So, hey, thanks for sitting down with me and chatting. I really appreciate it. Had a great time.
Yeah, this was totally awesome, and thank you for reaching out to me again. And I really
Yeah.
enjoyed being here, answering and giving my opinions. I could be very opinionated and passionate, and I hope people see that, but not take it in the wrong way, because I'm just very excited about the game. I love the game, and I think the future is very bright for Lorcana.
Yeah,
And
definitely. Yep. And I think you're in a group of like-minded individuals. I don't think it's, anybody's going to care too much about the opinions. They'll probably be right there with you.
True, true. There you
go. All right. Well, cool. Well, thanks again, and we'll see you around the community.
See you guys later. Subscribe to Chris also. He's almost to 1,000 subs.
Yep, getting there.
We'll get there.
Yep. Well, thanks for listening in on my episode with Aladdin's Castle. I hope you enjoyed it, and maybe it gave you a little inspiration on your own content creation journey. If you like the show, make sure to like, subscribe, and rate the show on your platform of choice. It really helps us out, and it can bring it to even more people all across the community. You can find out more about the show at lorcanachats.com, or you can email us directly at lorcanachats@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.